Now, UPC was founded in 1960 by Dr. Milton Obote, who led the country to independence and led the party until his death in exile in 2005. Fast forward, on the 14th of May 2010, the party elected Olara Otunu, a former United Nations Under Secretary General for Children and Armed Conflict, to lead the party. He replaced Obote's widow, Miria. Party President Olara Otunu then handed over power to my guest, Vice-President Joseph Bbosa, in May this year as he retired from active politics. His reign was tumultuous, to say the least. And joining me now is the Vice President, but also caretaker of the party, Joseph Bbosa. Welcome to NTV Weekend Edition, sir.
Thank you very much, Brian, and our viewers.
Dr. Olara Otunu's reign was, many would say, full of confusion, very tumultuous, to say the least. You have been in the leadership, the top leadership, for a few months now. Tell us about how it has been since you took over the party leadership.
Well, we have not had any major incidents since I took over, effective 1st July. My responsibility is as the president of the party, because much as Mr. Olara Otunu resigned and handed over to me, I've got full responsibility as the president of the party. But in the circumstances in which I took over, one of my major responsibilities is to organize elections for the party president. And I intend to do that before Christmas this year.
Your party is sharply divided. You have two factions, one led by you, one by the son of the founding Dr. Milton Obote. Has this affected your leadership? How has it affected your leadership too?
I don't agree with you at all that the party has got two factions. The party is one, whole and indivisible. What you call the Akena group is effectively, for all intents and purposes, NRM. Why do I say that?
But they are still in the party. They are still, well, trading, for lack of a better word, as UPC.
It's not what you say, it's what you do, it's what you are perceived as. Let's go back. How did Mr. Akena gain access to the headquarters of UPC? He was accompanied by Uganda police. He's kept there by Uganda police. Why do I say that? The Uganda house is owned by the Milton Obote Foundation. When that incident happened on 5th June last year, the owners of the building ran to the police headquarters, CPS, and said, some strangers have entered my premises. I want you to help me remove them. The police did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Next, when Milton Obote Foundation found no relief from the Uganda police, they went and instituted a criminal prosecution. A criminal prosecution for criminal trespass on their premises. The charges were read out. The next we had was that the DPP had taken over the prosecution, as indeed the Constitution allows them. In no time, the Director of Public Prosecutions withdrew the charges. They didn't.
You seem to be insinuating that Obote's faction, Akena's faction, is well funded and it's orchestrated. All these things are orchestrated by the NRM. You seem to deny the fact that you don't have a problem in the party. That Akena seems to be someone who has been brought in by the NRM.
I'm not only insinuating, I'm stating categorically that Mr. Akena is the voice, is the face of NRM at Uganda House.
Aren't you hiding yourself in the sun, sir, because you have a crisis on your hands as president of the party? you want to organize an election, you still have this. Now Akena's group is, people are serving in the current NRM government. You are not in the conversation of opposition politics. Don't you have a crisis on your hands before you even...
Brian, the fact that you have invited me here as leader of UPC is a clear indication that I'm engaged in the conversation of opposition politics. Brian, everything in this country, in a normal country, should be based on the law. And the greatest interpreter, the sole interpreter of the law is the courts of law. On the 11th December last year, the High Court of Uganda categorically ruled that Mr. Akena has never been elected president of UPC within the provisions of the UPC.
Of the UPC constitution.
Yeah. If he was not elected, what is he? If he was not elected president of UPC within the provisions of the UPC constitution, but he occupies...
He seems to be...
He can only be...
Then he seems to be an invisible force that you are choosing to neglect, and it's affecting your party.
I'm not neglecting it. The law said you are either president of UPC or you are not.
Are there plans for you, sir, to have dialogue with the Akena group?
I've had several attempts to talk to Mr. Akena and his group. Say, please follow the law,
right.
Follow the constitution of our party. But our requests are falling on completely deaf ears.
Let's talk strategy, sir. Some voices will say that the UPC has failed to tap the young blood, and probably that is why you are not in, with the major political parties. Is that a problem that you see? How do you respond to that?
The UPC politics, the opposition politics cannot be seen in isolation with the state of politics in this country. The state of politics in this country has been completely commercialized. The young people, sorry to say, the majority of young people engagement in politics is based purely on what they can materially gain from their engagement, by and large. This does not only affect UPC, it affects other opposition parties especially, because necessarily the opposition parties do not have access to the same funds as the NRM.
But compared to the other opposition parties,
NRM,
UPC does not have a considerable number of young people following it.
I don't know where
is that a crisis?
I don't know where you get that from.
Do you see a future, as far as young people are concerned, joining the party now?
The future of UPC, the engagement of young people in UPC, their joining UPC will depend on how the leadership conducts itself. If the young people see Uganda People's Congress or any other political party for that matter as based on violence, as based on getting positions, they will withhold their support.
Right.
They will think twice before they join any other political party. But as I said, the main attraction is the money. There's no denying that. The young people of today are too concerned with the short term. That's the problem. And we need to change the mindset of the population, of the young people, both girls and boys, to actively join political parties, not for what they may get materially immediately, but for what those political parties stand for, with regard to the future of this country, with regard to the future of the young people.
The nature of opposition politics now seems to be activism and aggression and always out on the street to get their voice done. But there's also a school of thought that says, well, it should be gentle, do not coerce people into supporting you. What is your take on that?
Nobody can be coerced into supporting you. As long as you are mature and as long as you are 18 years of age, which allows you to vote, nobody can compel you to join a political party or not to join it. Yeah? But there are attractions which some political parties have and others do not. Yeah.
Sir, before I let you go, are you going to stand for party president in December?
Brian, fairly qualified to lead the UPC. The constitution of UPC does not bar me from standing for president.
So that's a yes. Won't you also receive the same opposition? You are, you know, what you'd call conflict of interest. You're organizing an election, but you're also standing.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the constitution does not bar me from standing. Whether that amounts to conflict, we shall handle that.
Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you, Brian.
That is the Vice President, also caretaker of the UPC, Joseph Bbosa. We shall be continuing this conversation. You can head to our Facebook page and our Twitter handle to comment more on that.